5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello and welcome everyone to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences. Yay indeed, Julia. Yay indeed. This is a podcast where my co-host and I listen to and watch all the Cincinnati-based craft beer media from the previous week. We get together at a podcast host, and today we are back at Higher Gravity Summit Park. Thank you for being a gracious podcast host, Higher Gravity. Truly appreciate it. Mm-hmm. My name is Marco. I'm a taproom manager here locally. I also brewed beer for several years in the Cincinnati area. That other voice that you heard go, that belongs to the best co-host in podcast landia.
I am Julia. I drink all the beer, all the craft beer and the craft cocktails and the craft everything, really.
Yeah. Hopefully there aren't too many consequences from the host of the other podcast, but don't care.
Oh, you know what? We handle those consequences like pros.
Yeah.
We just brush them off. We're just
That's
like, you know what?
We're pros at
You
it.
think you're trying to take us down,
Yeah.
but you're not.
But you're
just
not.
making us even funnier.
Well,
maybe.
Maybe.
Depends on who you ask.
So No Good Craft Beer podcast would be a good one if we weren't drinking beer. But before that, I want everyone here to know, within the sound of my voice,
Oh, gosh.
all the thoughts and opinions on this podcast are ours and ours alone. They do not reflect any entity which we may be affiliated with, such as full-time jobs, part-time jobs, or Higher Gravity itself. The Gnarly Gnome can speak for himself.
If he was here.
Well, he's not here.
Nope. So guess what? Maybe we're speaking for him.
Yeah.
So if you don't like anything we say, get at the Gnome.
Yeah, get at the Gnome. And today he's speaking for Gilligan's by Westside.
Gilligan's Brewery, yeah.
Gilligan's Brewery.
Yes.
And yeah, so with that being said, Julia, what you drinking?
This is an English brown ale called Bart's Best Brown. And the reason that I got it, I made my own connection that probably doesn't actually exist in real life surrounding the brewery name of that produced this really, really good brown ale. It is called Bookhouse Brewing. So in my head, because the great David Lynch has left this mortal coil, I saw Bookhouse and I went, the Bookhouse Boys from Twin Peaks. So I decided I had to get this beer, and I am very glad that I did. It is excellent. Yeah. How about yourself, sir? What are you drinking?
I'm having an Irish ale from Mick Scottish Mick something.
Scottish
Mick
face?
Scottish face.
Yeah. Is
No,
it good?
I'm not. Leave that to Bruce guys later.
Ooh.
Let's see. No, I'm having Trogs Nugget Nectar.
Excellent.
Got to get some of that nectar, Julia.
Yeah. I mean, you go for the nectar of the bees, the honey with hop slam, and now you're going for the Imperial Amber Ale with nugget nectar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for everyone, all of you who don't know me, let's go ahead and get into what are we going to talk about? What's going on?
We're going to talk about a couple shows. This will probably be a bit of a rushed episode because it is Kolsch Night. And you guys all know that on Kolsch Nights, we want to be down in OTR to drink as much Kolsch as we possibly can and avoid as much traffic as we possibly can. So we're going to do some quick recaps on Barstool Perspective. We're going to touch very quickly on the recent Craft Parenting podcast.
Just a little
the
touch.
Briefest of mentions.
Just a touch.
I'm also going to do the briefest of touches, wow, words.
Are you going to touch that beard? Beard?
I don't know that. Yeah, the beards and beers. Beers and beards, bees and boobs. The Beers and Beards, I think, podcast.
Okay.
Blake, the Brewery Blake's Craft Beer Podcast, not the Brewery
Blake's
Explorer.
Craft Beer Podcast.
Holy crap, I cannot speak.
Well, just wait. In 2 months, he's changing the name again.
Ooh, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
We have the weekly pint, and we finally have a new video from Half-Ass Beer Review to talk
That's right.
about.
Yeah.
All right.
Way to go, guys.
We're going to go from left to right in your notebook, Marco. We're going to follow the order in which you wrote things in.
Yeah.
We're going to start with Barstool Perspective. I mean, it makes sense that that's the first one. It is the oldest of the episodes that we are going to be talking about today.
Sounds great.
They went live on January 17th of 2025, and I'm calling this episode Don't Fuck with the Mapri Cartel.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to start this by saying watch their shorts. and not those shorts, but like their video shorts.
Right, the video shorts.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, they are still breaking down the best, worst beer in the whole entire world. So far, they have covered Coors Banquet versus Heineken, and there was one other that I didn't write down. Oh, Bud versus Sapporo.
Yep.
Yeah. So they are
Bud
amazing.
versus Sapporo?
Yeah, Budweiser versus Sapporo. That was Tuesdays, and then Thursday
I think
was
I missed that one.
Coors versus Heineken, and I haven't had time.
It was Coors versus Heineken, and then they had Steel Reserve versus
Colt 45. That
Colt
was the very
45.
first one, yeah. And then
So I missed the Bud then.
Okay, you can go back and look at it.
I'm going to do that
Yeah.
today.
And then I haven't had a chance to see what their video today is, but sometimes the shorts post later in the day, so it might not even be out yet.
Late
Just
shorts.
depend on what producer Dan is
Evening
doing.
shorts.
Evening shorts, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bedtime shorts.
Those aren't bad.
Yeah.
They were drinking something spectacular. Some
Spectacular.
black and tans. They looked gorgeous.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. Let's see, what did they talk about outside of those things? Drink Athletic January instead of Dry January. Is this a good marketing ploy, or is this just an eye roll and a what the hell are you guys doing kind of attempt to, I guess, get more consumer support for the Athletic brand?
Right. It's not Dry January. It's Athletic January.
Mm-hmm. I did think Mike made some really good points on why he thinks they might have used that terminology, because, January, a lot of people are, they go back to the gym or they decide to try to make changes to get healthier. So like Drink Athletic January kind of plays into some of the athleticism that people try to get into in January.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think that it's a non-alcoholic beverage, and so instead of Dry January, Drink Athletic January. It doesn't really roll off the tongue as well. Not that Dry January does either, but it's
not Dry January. It's Athletic January.
I don't know.
Is that going to be a thing 5 years from now, 6 years from now?
What, Athletic January?
Yeah, Athletic January.
I hope not. I don't think it's even going to become a thing this January. Luckily,
it's
it's
gonna
almost
die,
over.
right?
But
It's gonna die?
Yeah. Sake. Okay, so let me try to rephrase how.
I don't get it.
Sake is growing and ping pong is Chinese. That
It's troublesome.
was, but also hilarious.
It was.
In the way that they presented it. And I think it was one of the very few times that Mike broke Bret during this episode.
Yeah.
Purely based on Bret, I guess, slightly misspeaking or trying to be clever with words, and then it became, that's not how this works.
Right.
It was great.
It was a little uncomfortable transition. We know.
Well, I don't know if it was.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
I don't know if it was uncomfortable. It's just kind of one of those moments where Bret puts his head in his hands and goes, "God damn it, Mike!" But in that way that that Bret means Mike's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he realizes the error of his ways. There are 25 sake makers in the United States, so it appears that sake in the U.S. is becoming a bigger and bigger thing.
25.
I've only had it once when we were here, when Gnome bought that bottle, and we just yelled Kempai over and over throughout the entire episode, which was absolutely fantastic. Would do it again, absolutely.
I would do it again, but it's not anything I need to seek out.
No,
I don't know, where's this growth coming from? Because I didn't find it's not anything, and I get that you're not going to form an appreciation for something because you had something once
Sure, right.
necessarily. I thought it was fine. If I was offered it, if someone bought it for me, I would probably drink it.
Sure.
I don't find it appealing enough to be in any way sparked to explore more.
Okay. Although I will say a very fun way is when there are spirit tasting classes, like what Higher Gravity did. They had a gin tasting class last year at some point.
Yeah.
And that was fantastic.
Yeah,
there were
loved it.
6 different
You thought
types
it was
of
great?
gin. It was phenomenal. They're doing another one February 2nd with bourbons. So if you're in the North Side area, the classes are well worth it. It's something that if you're interested in bourbons, but go. I had one once and it was just hot. I don't think I could drink it. You're going to find something in the samples they give you that you will start to understand what it's about.
Right.
So just shameless plug for that. Speaking of drinking, the way to stay healthy is drinking 20 pints of Guinness in a weekend.
That's one way to do it, Julia.
Yeah, and
you could do that way.
Who's the guy who has done that and who is now 70 years old and healthy as a horse?
He's his name is Mick.
Mick O'Brien.
Mick O'Brien.
I don't know why I kind of rolled my R on that because I don't think the Scots do a ton of R rolling.
Mick O'Brien.
Probably, as Bret and Mike said, yeah, he might drink 20 pints, but it's probably not all like in one sitting. He's probably not housing these things. It's probably gets up in the morning, kind of sips on one, and then just like continues to refill that glass over and over and over throughout the day. But that still seems like
10 pints of Guinness
lot.
in a day, 10 pints of Guinness in a day, 2 days in a row. Sounds like a lot, but it's probably not. I mean, what's Guinness? 4.6,
yeah, I was going to say,
4.7%
especially considering
ABV.
it's not. It's all for all intents and purposes, it is a lighter beer.
It is.
So
And the body, for everybody that thinks that dark beer is the body is full and robust, it's not. It's a pretty thin body.
Yeah. But man, it has such big flavor though.
It does.
It's a crazy good.
Well, it's got bigger flavor, than are your silly, goofy, mass-produced BS beers.
Sure.
But yeah, it's okay. I mean, I like a Guinness every now and then.
Yeah, absolutely. Next note that I had on this episode: Mike is for sale.
He is.
He is for sale.
I saw his. I guess it's his former position online.
Yeah. That's awkward.
Did you see that?
I did not know.
Well, you're not perusing the beer openings on Indeed then.
I am not. No, although
I've
I
done
probably
it for
should
years.
just to kind of see what's up.
I've done it for years. No one needs to get worried. I'm not actually seeking other employment. What I do, I just
keep an eye out. Yeah,
I just see what other people have going on.
Sure. But yeah, Mike is for sale. Email him your offer at bringsthed@gmail.com.
Yeah, excellent.
You
excellent
too
work.
can own not just a piece of Mike, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Brown-Forman of Fireball, Buffalo Trace, etc., is closing their coopery. 800 jobs are being lost.
This is a sad piece of news.
I'm hoping that I don't know, maybe Brown-Forman helps them try to find other work somewhere. But again, with it being that specialized of an industry, how possible is that going to be? Let's see. Last note that I had on this episode: agave farmers protesting pricing, and the cartels may be involved.
I'm going to go ahead and stay out of anything having to do with cartels. That's
yeah.
I try and live by that rule.
It's a good rule to live by.
Yeah.
Is there a cartel involved? Yes. It's probably not for me.
Probably not for me.
If it's for you, go for it. That's awesome.
Right.
Each their own. And then they had their From the Can beer review. They had Bell's Two Hearted in 19.2s.
Love it.
19.2s, to which their topic of conversation before trying it was, if these beers are now in 19.2s, does that mean that they are no longer quality beer?
No.
No? Okay.
It's not the case at all. No.
All right. Well,
quality beer is being put into 19.2 ounce cans.
There you go.
However, we can discuss whether... Well, I guess that's what they were trying to say is...
Right, like just tasting it and just knowing what it was like out of the, cans and bottles of the yesteryear. Not that they don't still exist in those formats, but when a brewery starts putting things into 19.2s, which are designed for people to just grab and house and not necessarily sit and enjoy.
No, you get 19.2s of Matry beer. You get 19.2s of Rheingeist beer. I mean, those are good beers. You can think that Two Hearted... And you can remember when Two Hearted was voted the best craft beer in America, like several years in a row. It's not necessarily that same beer anymore. But is it Steel Reserve? No, absolutely not.
All right, moving on to the sip count before we kind of move on to the other shows we're going to talk about. Mike took 23 sips.
All right.
Bret had to show him up just slightly this week by taking 25 sips.
All right.
So we have a total
of
guys. 48 sips, 48 countables, 96 ounces.
There we go.
6 pints in 35 minutes.
That's some real work there,
gentlemen. That is a hell of a lot of work.
Salute to you.
100%. Good job. And seriously, if you don't feel like you can sit through 35 minutes of them talking about booze news, which It's amazing. You absolutely should. Be sure to check out the shorts as they try to figure out the best, worst beer in the whole entire world. It is amazing, especially the somewhat off-putting way that Bret never looks away from the camera, even as he's drinking, even as he's talking to Mike. He is locked into that lens and stares right into your soul.
Right.
Right into the soul. All right, moving on to Beers and Beards. This is going to be a very quick touch on their episode. It was Urban Artifacts astronaut food, actually. David is doing Dry January. He was drinking Biro, non-alcoholic beer. And Gary, surprisingly, who is the bourbon person, he's always drinking bourbon, he had some of the peach astronaut food. They didn't touch on it a ton. They talked a little bit about how it is the most expensive beer per ounce possibly in the whole entire world because of the freeze-dried fruit that they use for it. And then they did also mention New Riff and how New Riff is now in all 50 states, which is absolutely amazing. But then in between those two very minor talking points, they talked about kind of everything else in the world that they normally talk about, from, sports to pop culture and the like. So just wanted to let you guys know that if you are interested in hearing a little bit about astronaut food and a bit about New Riff and them being kind of the newest local distillery to be in incredibly widespread distribution, check out their latest episode. And I think we're going to take a real quick break, and then we're going to go through the last 4 shows that we have to talk about. We'll be right back. All right, we are back, and we have 3 more shows to talk. 3 more and a mini, like a quick touch.
Okay.
A gentle caress. Craft Parenting Podcast, episode 236, being freh with alcohol removed wine.
Is this the one that we're
just gonna
mini?
We're just mentioning it because it's not
slightly touching.
It's not Cincinnati. It's not craft beer.
Gentle petting.
Gentle petting of the Craft Parenting Podcast. Speaking of, actually, I'll give you 2 notes, and then you can throw in any other notes that you have.
Okay.
They tried a Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, and a Merlot, all alcohol removed.
Okay.
And in this episode, you can hear Caroline imitate animals and talk about how she swings all the way.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's kind of...
No, that's it. I think I need to leave that.
Leave that one untouched?
Yeah, I think yeah.
All right. Again, it's wine. It's not Cincinnati. It's not local. But if you are doing Dry January, if you are interested in the alcohol-removed wines that are out there, which I find it interesting that they call it alcohol removed and not non-alcoholic, but I mean, it sounds fancier and more pretentious like wine does, so I guess maybe that's the reason right there.
Fancier and more pretentious.
This episode is out there on podcast and on YouTube, so definitely give it a try. Check it out. Give it a check it out. I don't know. Those aren't really workable words.
No, it sounds good. Let's run with it. Let's make it our thing.
Okay.
Let's put it on T-shirts. Give it a check it out.
You know what? Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Next show we're going to talk about...
Like rising ships, raise all tides.
Raise all ships and tides. Oh, I said it right. Damn. Blake's Craft Beer Podcast.
Yep.
Episode 46, 513 Craft Brew with Zach Hawley. Mm-hmm. This is an episode that, if you've heard other episodes of other podcasts that Zach has been on, such as Cincy Brewcast, there was a kind of a collaboration show with the Brewery Explorers and Misbehavior and all that, where, Zach gave a lot of the same information. So some of this may be a repeat for some of you, but for other people, this might be the first time that you have ever heard Zach being introduced to the world, I guess you could say. He started with how he got into craft beer. It all started with a trip to Rheingeist before he was actually interested in craft beer. Also talked about how singles are better than 6-packs when starting your craft beer journey, which I do kind of have to agree with. You can think something sounds good. You buy a 6-pack, you realize it's not really your thing, and it's not something that you're willing to just keep drinking.
I mean, that happens all the time.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't matter how far along you are in your craft beer journey where, you make a business decision whether you're going to get a 6-pack, 12-pack, or whether you're going to go for a single or, a smaller format. Mm-hmm. That's one of the cool things about, where we record every week, Julia.
Yeah.
We're over at Higher Gravity, where you can grab a single of something and try it before you grab a 6-pack to go.
But being from when he started his craft beer journey, Indiana, that really wasn't an option.
He was an Indianese.
He was an Indianese, yes, sir. Why start a craft beer group on Facebook?
Yeah, really.
He wanted to try to avoid the other overly opinionated people and groups, keep things positive, and try to be a more community-facing Facebook group. Now
Sounded like he wanted a different experience.
Sure,
Instead of
right,
taking
right.
his ball and going home. He's like, I'm going to take
I'm
my
gonna do
ball
that.
and I'm going to play it. I'm going to
I'm gonna
start
open
my own
court.
league.
Yeah, which nothing wrong with that.
No,
yeah,
it's
more
fine.
power to him for all that.
Yeah.
He does take full credit for Blake starting his own podcast.
Well, if Blake's not going to.
Yeah, he might as well. Might as well. He's
No,
spelled,
do you want to take credit for that?
for starting Blake's podcast?
Yeah.
Or for starting his
Speak
own?
up, no. Oh, he's not here.
They talked a bit about things that worries Zach about craft beer, the rising costs and prices, and places closing.
Also, microplastics.
And lots
he
of
mentioned microplastics in the aluminum.
Let's see. When he goes to a brewery, Blake asks, when you go to a new brewery, any place, what are things that you look for? What are things that boxes you want to check off when it comes to exploring these new places?
Black IPAs.
Black IPAs, set prices, which I think is interesting, and food that's not overpriced. Which, I mean,
He mentioned that he wasn't trying to be a cheapskate.
but he
Right.
also wants to make every dollar count.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Cleanliness was very low on his list on things that he keeps an eye out for when visiting a brewery.
That's okay.
Yeah. Zach doesn't give a shit about dry January.
Right.
Kind of,
Correct.
mirrors a lot of people's opinions on the matter. But again, you do you. If that's something that you're into, that you're wanting to do, more power to you. Try to stick with craft options if you can. Keep your money local.
Yeah. So it's interesting where he has the line, right? So it's like, I'm going to be inclusive and we're not going to, do some of these things that the other groups do to, shit on people or knock what they're doing or what they're having. But if you're doing dry January, fuck 'em.
Exactly. I wonder if he would kick people out of the 513 Facebook group if they said they were doing dry January. I don't know.
Probably not.
He rules that group with an iron fist, but he is not the only moderator, so he, I don't know. I guess would it come down to a vote?
There's several fists.
Let's see. What else do we have here? Goals for the 513 Craft Brew group. Keep the number of members going up and make new friends.
That's
I mean,
good.
right.
That's
I mean, I really don't have any other commentary to it because
Nothing.
I mean, those are fantastic goals, and
Yeah.
why wouldn't you want your community to grow?
Yeah. For sure.
Let's see. Zach did tell Blake how to reach out to someone for a podcast interview. In case Blake didn't know, now he does.
Right.
Thank you to Zach for sharing that. And there are rumors about Zach floating around out there that may or may not be true.
That's interesting.
A rumor might or might not be true.
That's interesting. Let's just go ahead and put it out there that things may be out there about said somebody that, may or may not be true. I don't know what that means.
Did you make it want to Google him to see if you could find out what's been said?
No.
Yeah.
I'll just.
It was an
We'll just
interesting-
ask around town, Julia.
That's true.
Let's just go ask around town.
Let's see who
Have you
has
heard of
rumors.
Zach Holly?
Yeah.
What story do you have?
Exactly. And see what lines up. What
I'm sure
doesn't
that's what
line up.
happens with us.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. You know that in some places, our names are met with death stares. In other places, they're met with smiles.
Yeah.
All right. Any other notes on this episode of Blake's Craft Beer Podcast?
No, that's enough.
All right. Let's move on to half-ass beer review. We have been waiting for this video
We're
for a long time.
going to give him the whole ass review.
The whole ass review of this half-ass beer review.
Correct.
I was worried that when Josh and Tone and Chris were down in Cincinnati checking out Sonder Brewing for the first time.
That we scared him away from Cincinnati?
Well, that when they pointed the camera at us, like, oh, yeah, introduce yourselves. I'm like, oh, we fucked up the whole thing because they came down for Sonder's sixth, not six, yeah. No, sixth.
Yeah.
I'm getting my brewery anniversaries crossed for Saunders' anniversary, and then there wasn't anything that happened. I'm like, oh, we totally fucked up that video.
I definitely thought I fucked it up.
And I had thought about messaging Josh, like, hey, just an FYI, if what Marco and I, when you had us,
Marco
cut
didn't
that
mean
out.
to fuck that up.
Like, if you need to cut us out of that, please do,
Cut
because
it out. The old Dave Coulier.
let's see, I already said that it was Josh Tone and
Can't think
Chris
about
out
him
there.
without Alanis Morissette, right?
Nah, very true.
Yeah.
Very true. They gave their thoughts on the non-collaboration Sonder beers that they tried because prior to coming down, everything that they had tried were the collabs, the collaborations with Dorothy Lane, all the collaborations with Kings Island, the root beer stand, which I think we've even said on our show, they're not my favorite beers from Sonder. Like, they just don't hit the way that I know that Sonder can make their beers. And so their opinion of Sonder, I don't say it was low, but they just didn't have any expectation for it. As I said in the video, we called them out and we said, yo, what the fuck? What the F?
What the F?
You need to come down to Sonder and actually try some of their beers, and they did. We met up with them. It was an absolutely fantastic time.
It was a great time.
They talked about the food that they got, the beers that they got, the whole Sonder environment, the tap room, the beer garden. And they don't rate breweries.
Nope.
But if they did,
Right.
find out what they would have rated Sonder during their first experience to the Sonder Mason tap room.
Yep.
And also find out, did we help change their perception of Sonder's beers? And that's not Sonder's. That's not Sonder with an S at the end. That's an apostrophe.
Apostrophe,
That's
yeah.
that's an
Possessive.
onage. That's a possessive. Watch and find out. And one thing that I found interesting, when I started watching this, in my notebook, I had written down the number of sips because we all had beer in front of us,
Yeah.
beverages in front of us. There were no sips on camera. Not
Wow.
a single one.
Wow.
Not a single one.
That's not a PG performance. That's
No.
a G-rated
I
performance.
know. Crazy. We'll have to do better next time.
Well, don't know if we can, but we'll give it a shot.
We absolutely will. It was a 12.5-minute video, so you absolutely have time to watch this. It is fantastic content. Josh does a phenomenal job, and when he brings in his other friends into the videos, it's fantastic. It is absolutely wonderful. I am so glad that the algorithm gave us that. This
I am
new
as well.
gem
And
these
guys,
new
when you're
friends, yeah.
when you're in the area, let us know.
I think they will. And Chris even said, "Hey guys, I'm more local than those Michigan assholes. We can all get together without them." And I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely
We
right.
absolutely can.
And I said, let's wait until it's not 37,000 degrees below zero because I don't want to do anything in this weather.
Right.
All right. Moving on. We only have the weekly pint to talk about. So do you think we should make a phone call
Yes.
before we get too far into
Yes,
things?
we should.
All
so it'll be a
right.
phone call, and then done.
Let's bring up Dawn before
Don.
we do things like this.
Ah,
I know.
Don.
Don Rock the Imposter on YouTube, the best renditions of the NFL Monday Night Football theme that you'll ever find.
Kolschs Night Gnome, what's up?
What's up, Kolsch Night Gnome? This is soon to be...
I can hear the music.
Can you really?
Yeah, I heard it.
So what's different? What did I
I
do
don't know.
differently? I don't know.
Don't know, but I heard it.
I have no idea what's happening
awesome.
anymore. All right, we're trying to kind of wrap things up so that we can get down to Kolsch Night, so Kolsch Night can happen. I am
Because it doesn't start without us.
pretty much.
It's already happening. It's
Oh, goddamn
happening. It's fun. It's
All
very
right.
loud. It's fun.
All right. Well, then we'll hurry up. I'm not going to talk about current point standings because I don't know how to pick teams, but we each get to make 2 picks this week. One for the AFC
What?
Yes. One
What?
for the AFC
That's
Championship.
what my hat says.
And
It's
one,
my hat, see?
It does say what.
What?
And one for the NFC Championship. So you have 2
Okay.
opportunities
All
this
right.
week for points. Oh,
Okay.
Are you unprepared?
Yeah, I'm unprepared.
All right.
You didn't
so
send me the rules.
I
Okay, it's
no,
fine.
we make them up
I
as
feel
we
like you're
go.
making the rules up as this goes along.
Yes.
That's fine.
Well,
It's
Yes.
fine.
you can pick
absolutely.
Who Day for one,
All right,
but then
so-
you'd have to pick somebody else for the
All
other.
right.
No, because it's 2 divisions. He could. Well, no, I guess I wouldn't.
They're not in the same.
You
They're only in
can-
one division.
We never made a rule that said you have to pick a team in that specific
That's
division.
true. You can
So,
pick- I
know
guess you can
what?
pick any
I guess
team.
You could. So let's go with the NFC Championship first. That's the Commanders versus the Eagles.
Yeah.
Gnome, who you going
Uh-huh.
with?
I'm not going first. No, you
Okay,
guys
all
sprung
right.
these rules on me without.
All right,
notice.
I'm going Eagles.
I as well will go Eagles.
All right,
Okay, I'll go Commanders.
all right. Let me put this in my spreadsheet of doom.
Stupid.
What are you talking about?
No, it's I'm looking at the TV. You
Oh,
got
I
Bruce-
know. I'm like,
Bruce
this is so
Pearl
stupid.
over
This
here.
is amazing. All right, and then for the AFC Championship, the Bills
We're all
versus
picking
the
Bills,
We're
right?
all we're all picking Bills.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So, God, I hope we all get a point.
I-
I will be so sad if
I'm calling bullshit on all of these rule changes. right now.
It's not a rule change. We just never fully established them.
No, there's 4 teams still available. We could all still pick one team and still make this whole thing like.
We could, but they're.
But you didn't.
I'm sorry.
But you
we
didn't.
will. Okay, so we will consult you about the rules for picking the next game, which will be the Superb Owl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So the only one that can win this week is me.
Yes.
No.
We're setting you up for success. That is 100% what we're doing, right, Marco?
No.
Sure. Yes. Right, Marco?
Oh yeah, you're
You
right.
guys-
Oh yeah.
You guys,
sure, of course.
You two can tie this week. I can win.
Oh, that's true. This is true. Okay, I see what you're saying. All right. Well, we appreciate you letting us give you a call. We're going to go ahead and talk about the weekly pint and then head on down to OTR.
Yeah,
So we're
I'm
gonna let you
there.
go. All right.
I'm drinking all the kolschs.
Don't save some for us.
It's so good. It's so cozy here. It's so cozy and warm. They have big giant fireplace going. Yeah, it's good.
All right. We'll be there shortly.
Yeah.
All right. See you, sir.
Don't change the rules.
No promises.
Yes, I see.
All right. See you in a bit.
Cheers.
Bye. Cheers.
Bye.
Oh my goodness. I mean, we didn't change the rules. We just didn't really spell them out super clearly. It's totally different things, right?
I think this is him just getting his panties in a bunch because he just sucked during the regular season.
Yeah, I've sucked during the postseason, so you know what? It's all relative. All right, let's go
I won
ahead.
the regular season. I'm about to win the postseason, and then
You know what?
the
I
Super
still have
Bowl
a
is coming up.
chance. I still have a chance.
Everyone has a chance.
Yeah, all
Everyone
right.
has a chance. I'm gonna win.
Speaking of chances, let's talk about the weekly pint so we can wrap this episode up.
Okay.
Episode 245, even though last week's episode is kind of lost to time, no one knows if it actually happened or not except for Josh and I. There were attempts last week, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It still might come out in a podcast form. You never know.
You never know.
This episode, Mystery Booze Monday.
All right, MBM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. New tradition, start the weekly pint with a little nipple of liquor. I don't know the words anymore. Or lager. I mean, I
That's
guess
why
you can do
I
whatever.
started with liquor.
True. I mean, you can only go down from there or up from there. Oh, I guess it all depends.
I transitioned to Headhunter, but
Yeah. Let's see. It was a mystery liquor, a Lebanese spirit.
that label looked totally homemade.
It did, but there was something fun about it.
Yeah.
There's something fun that I think the colors and the design on the label, my eyes would have been drawn to it as well on a shelf. Would I have bought it? Probably not,
No,
but I'm excited
because it looked like it was homemade.
Yeah, that's true. He tried the liquor. He gave his thoughts on the liquor. It was kind of surprising. And then it was science time.
Science.
He found that there is, and he's known this for a while, mixing something with anise and water creates an absolutely insane reaction. Not as cool as Mentos and Coke, but just as impressive for people who don't expect 2 clears to make a non-clear.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. It was really interesting.
Yeah. And then label approvals were
Back.
We got a bunch of them. There is some absolutely fantastic looking stuff out there. I am very excited about one of Mad Tree's labels. If you want to know which one,
Actually,
I'm sure if you watch
several
this episode,
several of Matt Tree's labels look really, really good.
Oh,
The
no
other thing
kidding,
that
no kidding.
I would say is that the rebranding of Psychopathy looks nothing like the new labels that are coming out for the new projects.
correct. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with having each of your brands have a completely different looking
Yeah.
aesthetic.
True. And shout out to Mad Tree and Psychopathy for being in the top 100 beers.
No kidding, number 39.
39. And
That
you're
is
welcome.
amazing.
You're welcome. I mean,
We did what we could.
for as much as we do to have that happen.
The last notes that I had on this episode were 2 notes based on the label approvals that he showed.
Okay.
One, someone is releasing a Merlot aged ale. That could be an experience. That's all. I'm not sure how I want to. I don't know if I should be
Experiential.
excited for it, terrified for it, but that is going to be an experience.
Okay.
I might try to see if I can
You
get
might
some.
love it.
You might. Yeah, I love. Dude, wow, amazing.
All right.
Absolutely amazing.
I'm going to leave.
But what I do want to say is things like this, in a couple of the podcasts that we were asked to be on, such as Blake's, actually both of Blake's, when he talked to just us and when he did the recap, like I said that the past year or so in craft beer, it's been kind of disappointing. A lot of the innovation feels like it's not there. This is what I'm talking about.
Right.
I don't need a release like this every month, every week, but I feel like there should be something that pops up frequently enough to where I'm going, craft beer is still trying really neat and different things. They might not work. That's why, if they're able, super small batch, super limited. But you just don't see stuff like this as frequently. And so this is cool. To me, this is...
It is cool.
Part of what craft is all about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Did you have any other notes on this episode of the Weekly Pint before we get this episode?
No, we got to get going.
All right. Sniff and sip count for this episode. 11 of each. So that is 22 countables, 44 ounces, or 2.75 pints in this 1 hour and 10-minute episode. And considering that it was all liquor, that's a hell of a lot of liquor. You're going to be feeling good if that is how you played this game. Any other notes from you before I go ahead and get the closing in so that Kolsch Night can become a thing?
No, that's what I got. Is great. What a fun week of content, Julia.
Agreed.
And everyone needs to, get on that content, have fun, follow us, all the stuff and everything. But the other thing I just want to say is that 2025, I hope, is going to be a fantastic year. And I really, really just want to reiterate what we said at the end of
Cincy Beer
Events, which is go out and support the places you want to see around.
Yes.
It's extremely, extremely important.
Yes.
Just because somebody, saved TikTok before they were, sworn into office doesn't mean that all of your favorite places are going to be around to, see, April, May, June,
Most
or
places
this
don't
coming
have
up
someone to just swoop
December.
in and save them.
Yeah. So please go out there and find a way to contribute to the health and well-being of your local favorite places. And I know it's tough out there. I know that the everyone's crazy about the gas prices and the price of eggs and the when a toilet paper's on sale, it's still ridiculously expensive. I get all that. If you're going to buy 1, 2, or 3 beers, out this week, go and buy them at the places you want to see around.
Yeah. And tip your bartenders.
Tip your bartenders.
Yes.
Don't be like some fucks out there that don't.
Yep. With that being said, if you want to know more about what we do, who we are, and how to follow us and support us, truthbeerpod.com links to absolutely everything, including a link to our Patreon, which has unedited episodes. So all of the random jokes, random tangents, things that just took up too much time on the show, that's where you'll get that. And just sign up for a month. Check it out. And if you're like, I don't need this extra content, well, then cancel your subscription. That's fine, but try it. You might like it. You might enjoy the extra.
Please do. And I'm doing that too. I put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
I'm doing that kind of stuff. So everyone get out there and find a small way to help everybody.
Agreed. Well, Marco, what are you going to be doing next Tuesday?
I hope to be doing this, Julia, if the good Lord has me around.
I am sure he will. Cheers.